Have you ever looked at yourself and thought, where did I go? Not your body, not your face, not the roles people know you by. I mean you, the woman inside. The woman who used to love freely, the woman who had dreams, the woman who had energy, style, confidence, and opinions. The woman who used to get excited about life. And now, somewhere between marriage, motherhood, work, bills, ministry, family expectations, caregiving, disappointment, and simple trying to survive. You became a woman you don't fully recognize. Today, I want us to talk about the grief of becoming a woman you don't recognize. Hi, I am Simone, and here we have soul conversations and practical digital skills for women who are healing, growing, and building again. And sis, this conversation is tender because nobody prepares you for this kind of grief. Yes, I said grief. We know how to grieve people who leave. We know how to grieve death. We know how to grieve broken relationships. We know how to grieve opportunities that did not work out. But how do you grieve yourself? How do you grieve the girl who used to be? The woman you thought you would become, the version of you who had plans before life became so heavy. Because sometimes the hardest loss is not losing someone else. Sometimes the hardest loss is realizing you lost parts of yourself. And the painful thing is, people around you may not even notice. They still call you mom. They still call you wife. They still call you strong. They still expect you to show up. In South Africa, we say she's a strong woman, imbogodo. In Zimbabwe, some may say she can handle it. In America, they call her a supermom. In the UK, they may say she's just getting on with it. In the Caribbean, they may say she's holding things down. In Nigeria, in Kenya, Ghana, Zambia, across the world, women are praised for carrying heavy things quietly. But sometimes behind all that strength, there's a woman whispering, I am tired. I miss myself. I don't know how I became this version of me. And my lady, I want to say this gently. That feeling is not weakness. It is grief. It is grief when you look at old photos and remember how hopeful you were. It is grief when you see your younger self smiling and you realize you were lighter then. It is grief when you remember the friendships you had, the dreams you carried, the clothes you loved, the things that made you feel alive. It is grief when you realize that somewhere along the line you stopped choosing yourself. Not because you were lazy, not because you were careless, but because life kept demanding more from you. One season needed you to be strong. Another season needed you to sacrifice. Another season needed you to be silent or to forgive quickly and keep moving. And another season needed you to put everyone else first. And after years of doing that, you wake up and wonder, who am I now? That is why the grief of becoming a woman you don't recognize matters so much. Because before you can rebuild yourself, you must first be honest about what was lost. You cannot heal what you keep dismissing. You cannot recover what you keep pretending you never missed. You cannot become while constantly telling yourself, I'm fine. Sometimes you are not fine. Sometimes you are functioning. You are performing. You are surviving. Sometimes you are smiling because the children still need supper. The emails still need answering. The bills still need paying, and the life does not pause just because your soul is tired. But here is the beautiful thing. Grief is not the end of the story. Grief can be a doorway. When you allow yourself to say, I miss who I was, you're not being ungrateful for who you are right now. You are simply telling the truth. You cannot love your children and still miss your freedom. You cannot love your husband and still miss the woman you were before responsibilities. You cannot be grateful for your life and still admit that some parts of you were buried under pressure. You can be a woman of faith and still say, Lord, I am tired. Even Jesus understood sorrow. He understood heaviness. He understood withdrawing to quiet places. He understood the need to pour out your heart before the Father. So please don't spiritualize your pain away. Do not rush to say, at least I'm blessed, when your heart is trying to tell you something important. Yes, you are blessed, but you're also human. And many women are walking around blessed, busy, and broken. Sis, if this conversation is speaking to you, please subscribe to this channel. This is where we talk about healing, identity, motherhood, faith, and building again. Not from pressure, but from wholeness. Now let me say this. The woman you don't recognize is not beyond serving. She may be tired, she may be quiet, disappointed, have lost confidence. She may have stopped dreaming, but she's still in there. Under the roles, under responsibilities, under the survivor mode, under the years of being the strong one. She is still there. And maybe healing begins with small acts of remembering. Remembering what you used to enjoy. Remembering how you used to dress when you felt like yourself. Remembering the places that made you feel alive. The dreams that you keep postponing. The sound of your own laughter. Remember what you liked before everyone else's needs became louder than yours. This is not about becoming your old self again. No. You have lived too much. You have learned too much. You have survived too much. You've become deeper, wiser, and more discerning. Today, I want to invite you to do one gentle thing. Find an old picture of yourself. Not to criticize your body, not to judge how you look now, not to punish yourself. Look at that picture and ask, what did she love? What did she dream about? What did she need? And what part of her have I abandoned? And what part of her is God inviting me to recover? You may cry, that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes tears are not a breakdown. Sometimes tears are evidence that your soul is finally being heard. And as you sit with that picture, I want you to speak kindly to her. Tell her, I'm sorry I forgot you. I am sorry I silenced you. I am sorry I made survival the whole story. But I am coming back for you, because that is what this journey is about. Coming back to yourself, coming back to your voice, coming back to your dreams, coming back to your softness, coming back to courage, coming back to the woman God created you to be before life told you to shrink. This is the grief of becoming a woman you don't recognize. But this is also the grace of realizing you can still become whole again. If this conversation touched something in you, I want to invite you to download the I Method Journal. Use it as a quiet space to reflect, to pray, to write, remember, and begin finding your way back to yourself. And please, in the comments, tell me one thing you miss about the woman you used to be. What is her joy, her confidence, her friendship, her dreams, her laughter, her boldness? Write it down. Let her be witnessed. Sis, you are not too far gone. You are not lost forever. You are not just a mother, just a wife, just a worker, and not just a strong one. You're still a woman with a soul, a story, a voice in the future. And maybe this is the season where you stop grieving in silence and start coming home to yourself. I am Samuel. I'll see you in the next conversation.